Hello and thank you for staying with Channel 1. This is BizCheck and we are now in the second hour of the program. My name is Betty Kiptum. In this second hour, we want to discuss matters avocado exports, banana exports, capsicum exports, matters agriculture. And to discuss this is Okisegere Ojepat, the Chief Executive Officer of Fresh Produce Consortium. Thank you for coming and it's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Nice to see you after a long time.
It's a pleasure.
Yes.
Let's just start with the fact that Kenya is Africa's second largest avocado growing and exporting country. And avocado is Kenya's leading fruit export, representing about 17% of total horticultural exports. Yeah. Europe and Middle East are our biggest markets in terms of avocado exports, but we have a problem, don't we?
I don't want to call it a problem. First, I need to make a correction.
Go ahead.
Kenya is not the second. Kenya is the first.
All right. We took that number. All right.
We overtook South Africa 2 years ago, and we're in an upward trajectory, which is a good thing to be number one, but it's a better thing to maintain being number one.
Yes.
And this is attributed to so many factors, and the biggest is basically our weather. I will not say we have a problem, but I will say we have a challenge. There's normally challenge to manage growth, and there's challenge to manage partners and trading partners in this case. We are in a situation in a season where most of our avocados, particularly a variety called Fuerte, we have sold it to traditionally about 98% to Russia. And because of the challenges that we have in Russia and Ukraine, there's been less orders for obvious reasons. Access to that market has been a challenge. So seeking alternatives, unlike something that would just be domestic, seeking alternative would be better. The fruit is getting mature. We also have increased production in the country, and seeking those alternatives in other places that require that we go through certain policies, procedures, particularly the agreements between our country and them on phytosanitary matters, takes a little longer. The second thing is, the second challenge we have is that we have not really, as a country, been able to collect data in terms of census of what we have, because many Kenyans went and planted orchards and never disclosed they have those orchards. So we now come here and find that we have orchards that are ready that we had not budgeted for. So we are meeting two challenges in the marketplace. We have a good fruit, which is a good thing, that we are able to produce more, but we have a challenge because we did not prepare sufficiently for those volumes for non-disclosure of most growers, particularly the middle and the smallholder. And a few middle-class people, Kenyans, who have learned. If you go, let me take an example of what's in Gishu, Trans Nzoia, Bungoma, Nandi, where people planted and kept quiet. So now they are ready for the market, and we had not planned for those volumes. So we are now faced with a challenge of quickly turning around and pushing those products to the marketplace, and that market was not ready. So you see, it then compromises the pricing, because then you need to sell, and the market then will tell you, I want to absorb, but I can only absorb it at a lower cost. And then, of course, our Russian market, when challenges that are there happened, what have we done? It then means that we have to find an alternative market quickly. Unlike bread, unlike clothes, unlike bread in Kenya, where you say if you can't sell on one side, stop production, we will produce tomorrow. We can't do that here, because this is a fruit that is already fruit. When it starts maturing, it matures in stages. So it means you have a season of about 4 months of a fruit that you now must take care of. So that's where we're standing. And then we're also then standing at a point where in the previously, we had some of our people were not very disciplined when it comes to quality aspects of the fruit. So there's a bit of a mixed reaction in the market that Kenyans are exporting fruits that are good quality, but sometimes a mixed quality of the ripe and semi-ripe, and that compromises our image in the marketplace. So what we've done in the recent past is really engaged with our trading partners and agreed with them. One, when we engaged with EU, the EU told us the dry matter is their challenge. So now we have agreed as an industry that the dry matter for avocado out of Kenya will be 24%, and not anything lower than that. Before, we will sell up to 19. Some people will even insist on 18, 20, but now we've pushed it and we've said the market wants at 24 and above. Let's give them 24 and above because they're the bulk of our buyers. Secondly, we've also then told the Middle East that we have fruit. The unfortunate bit is that then I think we do not understand the language. Most of our exporters do not understand the language of the buyers out there, particularly in UAE, where we have buyers who have placed orders, but the buyers did not pay on time, or they have not paid, which is also a challenge. Let me call it, is a two-way challenge. One, I have no idea why Kenyans sell fruits and vegetable out without getting deposits, payment of at least 70 plus. Just like if I went to Japan today and I wanted to import a car, they will insist that I pay 100%. We carelessly became either extraordinarily generous, or we proved that we have muscle to be able to send cargo and wait for payment 14 to 60 days based on which market, which that goodwill has been abused by the market. Particularly if you go to the UAE, they have imported a lot out of Kenya, but they have been unable to pay. And some of the people who have been importing, actually, exporters did not do due diligence to allow them to get to know who they are giving credit, because for me that's credit you're giving in terms of produce. So we however have been very vibrant in being out in the market, told the market what we have, given them statistics over and above what we expected to have, and we're now saying, listen, please, Kenyan fruits are here, please buy them. It's a bit slow, but I hope it picks up. But our prayer is that other non-traditional markets like India, that we just need a little political goodwill for them to open the market, because KFIS has done what they needed to do, the industry has done what we needed to do, but we just need a little political goodwill for India to open that market. So if India opens their market like now, we will be able to deal with it. However, we must also then be able to say, can we do due diligence of the men and women, the businesses that are buying produce from us? Secondly, can we agree as a country that instead of giving people credit, let's agree on the terms of payment? If I must advance you my produce, then I must be having a relationship with you. We are currently telling the exporters, then there must be a contractual obligation between you and the other person, because you're not trading 2 shillings, you're trading in millions. One container, for example, will cost you an average of 3 to 4 million shillings to load it, a 40-foot container, depending on the season and the variety you have. And of course, we have certain areas where I know people have been talking about China, where China has been changing, for lack of a better term, their phytosanitary requirements for us to access the market. First, they told us we must have them frozen. Now they're telling us we must have them treated. The kind of treatment they want us to treat them at 21 degrees centigrade. Get them into a refrigerated container. And normally we transport our avocado at 4 degrees so that it's able to get to the market before it matures. Are we getting it? So, and then we had not prepared for this. So I know that there are 2-3 institutions that are busy putting together post-harvest treatment for avocado, and Kakuzi is doing some trial, but of course Kakuzi have their own plantation. So we need a common user facility to focus on this. So those are certain things that we have, but the good news is that our name is now known out there as a country that has good quality avocado, and we have a longer window as compared to our competitors in Peru, Mexico, who come in a little window and get out of the market. we stay in longer. And in fact, going forward, I don't think the closing and the opening of the season will hold because of the weather patterns in the country. In Western region is raining and the Eastern region is dry. You expect that the maturity of the fruits within the country will mature at different stages. Of course, we'll have a high moment, but I do not think over time that we will sustain the business of closing. We just need to be disciplined. And as I said earlier, our biggest challenge today is to put together statistics of what we have planted as a country, what is coming into production at any given time. And in fact, in the market last month, the market challenged us and told us, please tell us what you have so that they can put Kenya on the map and with clear statistics of what we have. That is something that we've started putting together. It's not a one-off thing because then avocado is planted by a smallholder and you are not in control of their plantations, of course accessibility. And you need resources to really collect that data, be able to collect it and be able to make business sense in terms of using that for negotiating or engaging with the market. And the other thing that I must say here is that as a country we must get disciplined. I know we are using service providers like brokers whom I keep saying should be properly governed, and the governance structure within the system should be clear, and we must sort out the issues of transportation. Out there, the other parts of the world do not transport avocado the way we transport. We transport them rudely, in a bad way. And I always say, if I go to buy meat, if I look at somebody who's selling meat and meat products, they have a specific container, a written meat, and you can tell whether it's a motorbike or a vehicle, right? When it comes to avocado, we dump them on pickups. Some of the people shake the tree. The fruits fall on the ground, right? Then you pick the fruits, put them on an open pickup, push them out from the open pickup to the marketplace. So there's a lot of damage in terms of quality that's compromised if we do not handle well. So what we've now agreed, and I know we agreed with the regulator, a letter was sent out. Industry now is working on ensuring that we do not shake the tree. We harvest we pick the right fruit, we transport them on washable, good transport facility in terms of tracking it. So we're able to get a good fruit that we harvested from a farmer into the market, all right, maintaining the same quality, getting it to cold chain, package it and transport it either by sea or by air based on the destination without having to compromise that quality. Last but not least on that is that when we're in the market out there has changed the way they do things. For example, if you go to France today, they get a whole container, they put it in a ripening chamber. Meaning, when your fruits are put in a ripening chamber, they need to ripen within, it's set within a specific temperatures for a period of time, closed out. It could be 2 hours, could be 3 hours, but that moment of time. If you have a mix of different product quality that you packed in that container, what do you expect? That certain fruits will have met the specification or the requirement of the ripening conditions. But surely, most of them, if they did not meet the quality, will come out either unripe or rotten. Are you getting it? So it's now on us as a country to get disciplined, to get to know that quality is not always anything you want to play around with. Don't mix. Let's agree. Let's nurture this industry. And we are growing.
Yes, we are growing.
So that's what I can say at the moment.
Okay.
The future is big. We're engaging with EU. We have engaged with all countries. We're engaging now with UAE. We're engaging with Saudi Arabia. We're engaging with Oman. We currently also engaging with unfamiliar countries like Kazakhstan, who are basically able to get our product, and those non-traditional markets. And of course, the tail end where we are, we're just at a point where we get into China, into India, and I think the future can only be bigger and brighter.
The future can only be bigger. Quite a number of issues that you've brought up, and of course, it's good news you're saying that we are growing and we are at the top. We need to maintain that position. Last year, there was a ban that we placed on ourselves, the export ban in November 2021. By January, it was now extended indefinitely. How is that going? And it was a ban on the Fuerte and Hass varieties.
I want to change the word. There is nowhere we have banned.
Okay.
I insist.
Okay.
Because at least I sit in the decision-making table when it comes to the restriction. Let me use the word restriction. What we do is ordinarily in the past, Kenya has had certain regions produce avocado. Okay. And it was mostly Murang'a, Meru, Central Kenya. The rain patterns, the weather conditions are clearly known. So we will close and restrict exports from about 15th of November, around about November up to 15th, and this will stretch up to either January or mid-February, because the fruits are coming from traditionally one region. Okay? Now, the fruits come from non-traditional areas. For example, if you drove from here to Western to Malaba, or drove from here to Loitoktok, or drove from here to Kitale, and now, the other day I had gone to Garissa, and people in Garissa asking me, can we plant avocado? It's that interesting. So the fruits then mature in different stages. Of course, you'll have more at different times. So what we did last year was to restrict the exports by sea and pulled the export, restricted it to by air. We still were able to allow those that had orchards and they could demonstrate that their fruits are mature. Inspection was done and they took the fruits to the market, right? And then also, the other thing that we did then was to say, which one is better? Do we sell the fruit to the market, the fruit that is mature, or do we sell fruits for purposes of selling? So what we needed to do was to sell mature, which I insist even today, that we sell mature fruits of the right size to the marketplace. So what we did with that restriction, why it was extended, is therefore the regulator here, HCD, Horticulture Crops Directorate, will send the inspectors to the field, different parts of the country, to assess what I called earlier the dry matter. Okay. Once we ascertain that the dry matter across the board is within what we have agreed as a country, then we will allow exports to take place. Unfortunately, why it was extended is because after this check and the survey sampling both the high region and the low region, we have something we call the T-zone. Once we said we have to go through that, the next thing then we did was looked at the statistics and realized we still had not attained the dry matter required. What then leads to that is extend the period for a while. Unfortunately, why you had a bit of cry is normally that specific time of restriction. Even our competitors are not in the market. Okay. And so, for lack of a better term, people want to make money when there's a window to make money. But you can't make money when the fruits are immature because it also taints the image of the country. And you know, one interception or notification is not on the farmer, it's on the country. And it goes into the global statistics of how you perform as a country. Are we together? So we have to get that done. So that's where we are. So we have never, and I do not think we are going to ban, we only restricted. Even now, if your orchard is not confirmed to have attained the required dry matter content, you will be asked not to export, but to hold on until you attain that dry matter. Then once you attain it, you are allowed to go to the market. That's the best practice that we need to have. And I think as a country, we are either greedy or gluttonous, or we are just quick to look for money, and sometimes we don't really think about the future. Patience is a virtue, and patience will help us to get to the market with the right fruit. And discipline is clear, because by the end of the day, how much do you need? You need money today, or do you need something that gives you money consistently? Build a name. We have to change the way we do things. The fruit is here with us. It's going nowhere. Get it mature. It's your fruit. Of course, unfortunately, the other day I heard people talk about unfortunate statements made by people saying that now we guard our fruits using the police or guns. That's unfair. It's not happening here. That's wrong. Nobody is stealing. And I keep telling people, if there's somebody who steals, I don't think the security organs in this country are that weak. We can narrow down to those people. So let's not allow a few individuals who have their own malicious agenda to spoil this industry. I can tell you, Betty, the number of fruits that we have in this country today are 3 times more than what we had in 2015.
That's big.
What are we talking about? We're talking about tripling or even going 4 times the production of avocado that we had in 2015. So this calls for proper discipline, proper engagement, and proper marketing, both at the private sector level and at the government level, in terms of what are we packaging as a country. What is need for us as Kenya? What is Kenya as far as quality, as far as consistency, as far as logistics are concerned? Because we're now suffering on the logistical cost. We are suffering in terms of the inconsistency of how we get to the market, and thus the need for us to have specific statistics and allow this industry to grow. And of course, for those who are busy planting, and I know the president made a comment on avocado yesterday, and coming from that office, many people are going to plant fruits. My encouragement is simple. Go plant fruits, but please confirm the source of your planting material.
And how are farmers supposed to do this? Because to maintain a certain quality, especially among the smallholder farmers, there is need for information, to reach them, and also to just ensure that even their practice is somehow the same in a way, so that quality is maintained. How is this being done?
If you recall, I did say that this is when we need to work, both the private sector and the government institution, and particularly the devolved units, in ensuring that good and best practices are followed. What we've done from the private sector is ensure that all export companies contract the outgrowers and send out what we call a technical team. Others will call them technical assistants, others will call them agronomists, basically experts in the agriculture sector that can be able to go out and train. And we are training as an institution, for example. We're busy training and telling people what needs to be done, and including the source of the seedlings. And we're partnering with KFIS, we're partnering with HCD in ensuring that the plant health issues are dealt with well and the production issues are dealt with well. So what I need to encourage, and what I would like to encourage smallholder, is for ease of administration, let them join farmer groups and cooperatives, so it's easier to reach to them. For those who have big farms, tracts of acreage, they can also afford to call or hire a technical person. But for smallholder that are the majority in Kenya, I encourage them to form farmer groups and cooperative society. Then if they talk to us or talk to the next office of HCD or the ministry office, they will be linked up to us. Then we're able to get tailor-made trainings that work with them, that support them to get to the next level. But just like any other investment, people must be clear from day one, what am I investing, why am I investing, and where am I going to? Because it's not about today, it's about the future of this industry. And I also encourage those who have resources to be able to get into processing, because we can also get our oil I know there are those who are doing juices. I know there are those who are now looking at, particularly the pharmaceutical world. Of course, for the beauty world, I know ladies, and with all due respect to them, this is when people are now talking about plant products, natural products, and for your skin. I think this is where we need to be going. So we need a few investors towards that direction. Even as others are focusing on fresh, let others focus on juices so that we take advantage of making use of the whole fruit. I don't know whether you know that out of the fruits we have, we only export 10% of our production. Some of it goes into processing, of course. Some of it goes into waste. Some of it, if you go to some villages, people say, ata umbat wanakula avocado, which is good, but there are better ways to process and make use of all the fruits. In other countries, they're on an average of 60, I think 56, 46 and above. We're still on an average 10%. You can imagine, even from the current production we have, if we only worked on it and ensure that we qualify the quality, we'll already be talking about double or triple the volumes that we export today. But out there, our fruit has good taste. I mean, we grow it naturally, mostly under the sun, and I keep telling people, we are almost 99 to 100% pesticide free, basically organic, and we have so many organic certified farms. So if we are able to go through that, really, why don't we appreciate God by doing a good job that He's given us good weather that others don't have, because we are the only country that can produce 365 days of the year of any kind of fruits and vegetable. Yeah, and we can also tweak. For those who are doing irrigation, you can even slow down. You can actually reduce. You can change the cycle of your fruit. When it's flowering, you just go back and prune. Then you delay the fruiting. Then your fruits get into the market when other people are not in the market. So these are all available options that will allow us to navigate. Right,
that is very important, and I think it's quite a resource that we need to tap. Let's talk about the cargo space. I mean, the other day some flights were launched. They'll start, I think, in some mid-June from Kisumu to the UK. And of course, this is a big win for the sector. Could you please comment on that?
Not were launched. I think we already started exports out of Kisumu.
Yes.
With KQ.
Yes, extra flights.
But what we're basically saying is that the people within that region have one challenge. The exporters can export from any part. But the people who are on that region, particularly the county governments, must then be able to encourage the farmers to produce, help them to form aggregation centers, and allow the exporters to find a place to engage with the smallholder farmers. We currently have facing a situation in Kisumu, in Nyanza region. There's a lot of excitement, but very few people are in production. And if they're in production, they're not properly structured in terms of their governance. So the farmers that are there, a few members that we have, including the flower members within Kericho and fruits and vegetable members, Kericho, going Kisii, and that lake region area, the economic bloc, have now decided, a few farmers have decided to come together, and there's enough of work now going on. And that's why we now want to ensure that we get back with the pineapple, with passion fruit, with chilies from that region, so that we can resume that export out of that place, because it's a wasted resource. Why do you have to track cargo from Siaya to JKIA when you can ship it out of Kisumu? Why do you have to track cargo from Eldoret, from Kericho with traffic to JKIA when you can go down to Kisumu? Why do you have to get your avocados out of Kisii to Nairobi when you can go to Kisumu? Why do you, and then we're not just looking at Kisumu as an airport for Kenya, but look at where it's positioned. We have Tanzania and we have Uganda. So the East African community can actually converge within Kisumu and ship it up from there. So we now working with targeted exporters for pineapple, chilies, a bit of pineapple, passion fruit, and avocado. Lift their cargo out of Kisumu straight to UK, but it could still come via Nairobi, and then it's added if we are not able to get sufficient cargo. So the airlines in this country have no problem. The problem is the business people and the growers that must then consolidate products within a specific area. The airport can have facilities, but those facilities will be of no use if the locals cannot work it. And for the people in Nyanza region, for example, and Western region, and people in Rift Valley, North Rift, I think this is a time to forget this personal, what I would call individual interest, and put the interest together. We have an airport in Eldoret, we have an airport in Kisumu, but we still have cargo coming out of Kitale to Nairobi, leaving an international airport in Kisumu, in Eldoret. Leaving an international airport in Kisumu. If you don't want to go to Kisumu, go to Eldoret. If you don't want to go to Eldoret, go to Kisumu. Why do you have to come to Nairobi? Spending your 8 hours because you have to move at a certain speed. And sometimes, you know what happens around Gilgil, out of Nakuru into Nairobi with traffic. And sometimes you're stuck there for a whole day. So which one is better? Get your products to the market within 24 hours. Go to the next airport. We will support, and we are supporting. So the airlines are ready. It is the people. And then also for the exporters, I keep saying people, listen, who said exporters are all in Nairobi? Kisumu, Eldoret, Mombasa can raise exporters. Any Kenyan can be an exporter. Any Kenyan can be an exporter. There's nowhere there's a tag that specific people can be exporters. So my encouragement here is that the business people in Kisumu, business people in the Lake region, the ones in North Rift, must then ask themselves, what do they require to be an exporter? Then we'll support them. Yeah, so we have space, airlines ready. We have a challenge of consistent supply of cargo into Kisumu, into Eldoret, and into Mombasa. We are all still traditionally looking at Nairobi and putting too much pressure. Nairobi, let me give an example. For example, if you go to Kisumu, you can actually negotiate a rate better than Nairobi. If you go to Mombasa, you can negotiate a better rate in Mombasa than Nairobi. You can negotiate a better rate out of Eldoret than Nairobi. It's easier. The airlines are willing to say, let's sit together, because for them, it's also a growth strategy of pulling it out of there. And there's less challenges in terms of handling costs, including the clearing agents. So the cost in Nairobi, you could save, even if you save 10 cents of a dollar, times 10 tons every time you have a shipment, there's so much you can save. So I'm encouraging people to engage in dialogue so that we can move forward and forget about this unnecessary excitement or emotional things and be factual. The business has to continue even after this. I know many people are talking about the election. It's 60 days, my dear. It will get finished. Once this is done, what you do, you're not going to be emotionally running here. There are people who will forget, and there are people who must continue with business. So there is opportunity for logistics. And now what we're also doing is taking advantage of engaging the combination of the air, the railway, and water. So we're talking of trucking cargo out of certain regions, like for avocado, instead of going by truck to Mombasa, we like it to go by railway into Mombasa. It saves time, it's efficient, and Betty can tell you here today, we have about 1,800 containers coming out of Mombasa every day, but we have almost nothing going back. So the containers are going back empty. So that means we can negotiate a good rate as those containers are going back. So there's trials going on with Kenya Railways now to ensure that certain locomotives that they're using, we have a refrigeration, a connection point to ensure that we get a cold chain infrastructure within the railway station, within the railway infrastructure, to allow our cargo to go down, because 95% of avocado is exported by sea because of the bulk. So why not take advantage of the available infrastructure?
Well, those are very important pointers. Could you just give us an outlook of how the banana export industry is looking right now?
We have been lazy.
Okay.
I think when people thought of avocado, everybody went to avocado. This week on Monday, we launched, as an institution, we launched a digital marketing strategy, and we now marketing digitally. We want to reach as many people as possible, and we just want to encourage again growers to come out form farmer groups and cooperatives, find a point where we can engage. Then the exporters or traders will then find a reason to get there. Sadly, last year we only exported worth 3.4 million Kenya shillings of bananas. And like avocado, which I spoke a little earlier, we had we traded 16.6 billion, and for avocado, for banana it was only 3.4 million. Are you getting it? Which you almost want to ask yourself, why are we doing this? And yet globally, bananas are consumed more than avocado. I'm sure even you, unless otherwise, if you walk around, you'll see more bananas on the roadside being sold, in the market being sold, more than avocado. So I think we've just been lazy as a country, and we have something I call copy-paste. If I'm working on avocado, everybody wants to export avocado. Then we compromise the quality, we start undercutting, you go paying less, you go enticing the market with lesser prices. So what was sold at $5 comes to 4.5. You call it competition, but which competition? There's no competition between a Kenyan and a Kenyan. The competition be between a Kenyan and somebody from Mexico. You know, now that is competition. Yeah. But if it's a competition between two Kenyans, that becomes childish and very responsible of us. Instead of saying, how do we work together, bulk together, aggregate together, and have a better bargaining power? Yes. And speak with one tone for once. We have selfish people who, as long as it works for me, I don't care. But what happens tomorrow? We have a population in Kenya of youthful people that need to get employed, and can only be employed if they get involved in this industry, including but not limited to the platforms and logistics. And there's so much you can do within the value chain. So let's open up space, let's aggregate and consolidate, and let's start talking and building volumes together. Then we go to the market with one voice. Then we're able to speak and say, this is what Kenya said. But as long as I go with this one, and then somebody else comes and say, oh, I'll give you at $4, and somebody was offering 4.5, the next one 4.39. I mean, what are we doing?
We're just hurting
Can
ourselves.
I tell you, if you went to South Africa today, there are competitors in other areas. If you ask the South African how much are apples out of South Africa, there's a bare minimum price. There's a minimum price that they cannot go below. We do not have a minimum price. I know we keep saying the minimum price in we are this liberalization, or you know, the constitution, this. Some of these things are killing us.
And whose responsibility is that?
It's a Kenyan responsibility. It has nothing to, because government said business is liberal. So if the industry does not does not sit down and say certain things, we must sit together and say, though there's a window here, what in it for us as a country? Can we agree we are not going to sell any avocado out of this country below this rate? I mean, what is, am I breaking the law? No. We have just said as a country, this is what we've agreed, this is the bare minimum. Take it or leave it. Will you go to Japan and import a vehicle and tell them, now you sell for me at 100,000 shillings, less than the other person, as if there's no cost of production? You work out your costing, and you agree, first of all, our costing is this much. The margins are going to be 30%, 20%, 10%, whatever. But let's not sell anything below this. This is what is killing us. Sometimes I ask myself, are we all genuinely in this business? Or could other people be doing business elsewhere, but they're bringing money here for the sake of... You know, it's questions that I keep asking. Because this is what confronts me every day. This is what confronts me every day. We just came from Italy. Italians are paying better than some parts of Europe. But we still don't want to go there. We're still busy undercutting, even with those ones who are offering you a higher price. So that's kind of conversation we have. So we have an opportunity, it's up to us to engage.
It's up to us to engage. And what will it take for Kenyans to... Maybe it's a mentality that has been created that it's time to do avocado now. So people moved away from the banana bit of it. What will it take to get more farmers there?
Farmers are there. It is the way we have engaged, particularly the traders. Because if I go to a Kulima market from here, I'll get a lot of bananas more than avocado. If I go to Muranga, I get more bananas than avocado. We just want to be deliberate in engaging the market. We engaged with Korea. Koreans said, listen, bring us your bananas you have, we will sell. How many exporters have come to me asking to sell bananas? I think 7. After that, the rest of the country went down. And it went in the papers, oh, there's banana in the market, there's Korea market. After that, nobody engaged. You know, there's one thing government can do, and I keep telling people, sometimes we blame government. Once the protocols have been set, it is not the business of government to engage in business. It's a business of business people to now go into business to business. But if the business people decide they want to go to avocado because it looks like an easier sell, look at what we're struggling with. All of us went to avocado. And not knowing that a country called Kenya has so much variety in terms of a basket. Bananas, our pineapple, our passion fruit, our mangoes, we have literally everything we require. So the laziness we have in this country is what I call copy-paste. Instead of saying, how do we diversify? So I encourage growers, and I encourage particularly traders, because growers have no problem. It is the businessmen in this country that need to say, I will want to venture into banana. What do I need to do? Please come. We are available to guide you in seeing how the banana goes. Because Korea has opened, and our ambassador there has been very aggressive. She's really opened business for us, and she's opened opportunities for us. But after opening the door, so what? She can't force you to walk through the door. Our mission will not allow you to walk through the door. I will force you to walk through the door.
Yes.
The door is open. Please walk in. So business people, there is opportunity for us to do business in a banana. Did you know, in my own opinion, did you know today, and I'll tell you this, did you know today the banana is the most cleanest fruit that you can eat? Because you must peel. You peel before you eat the banana. Every other fruit you must touch you must touch the skin, cut through the skin. But for the banana, you peel it up. So I encourage everyone, even locally. I don't know why people don't eat bananas. The only thing I see, the only bad culture I see people doing with bananas is peel it and throw the peels through the window. Instead of saying, what do we do? Because even those peels that you throw through the window can still be put into good use. So what I'm here to say is that this market for banana, this market for avocado, this market for our passion fruit, this market for our mangoes, but let's rise up. Let's engage. Let the business people wake up and say, what can I do? And let's stop lazing, and let's stop unnecessary, what I call unnecessary competition within the country. We are not competing among Kenyans. We are not even competing among East African community people. We are competing with the other giants. If you go to Chile, if you go to Costa Rica, and you see the way they're producing their bananas, even China, even India, the way they're producing for those areas that produce, you will be, I mean, it's being done very well. So and then we have an opportunity. Philippines, that supplies a lot of bananas, have a disease, a virus disease that is sweeping away their bananas. So if we can take advantage, we will fill in so much, because many countries, including Korea, banned bananas from Philippines because of the virus. So what does that mean to us?
There's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's us to fill in that gap. But if you don't fill up that gap, somebody else will.
Yes.
I don't know whether you've gone out there and tested their bananas. You're like, excuse me, I thought we had bananas, because they're tasteless. But our bananas are sweet. They're nice. So we have an opportunity. All we are doing now is branding, labeling, and showing traceability, and showing that we produce our bananas in a very good way, and that we are accountable, and we can take you through the journey. That's what we are doing for bananas.
Right. Before we close this conversation, allow me to ask a question about capsicum.
Yes.
The capsicum pest invasion, it reduced from 16 to about 4%.
Yeah.
Has this impacted the inspection rate of our capsicum in the international market?
Once you have a quarantine pest, like we do, there has been listed as a quarantine by your market, which is FCM. It's a quarantine pest in EU. And for that reason, any chili that comes out of Kenya will, for sure, whether you have 4% or you have 16%, will for sure continue going through the normal inspection until such a time the trading partners will put statistics on the table and say, listen, from these statistics, it looks things have changed. But there's also one thing that we must do as a country, is to engage with the market and say, hey, it has been at 16, it has been at 60%, it's now at 4%. Can we sit together You're getting it? So that's where we are weak. The weakest link we have is that we have not really been proactive as a country in engaging our trading partners, in asking questions. And I take an example. We had a challenge in Australia in 2017, 2018, and 2019. In 2019, we went to Australia. We sat down with Australian counterparts, including government, and we asked them, what is it you're telling us about this pest? We realized the mite they were talking about is also in their country. And for that reason, it cannot be a risk because it's already in your country. Do you know that was able to significantly reduce the interceptions between us and Australia? So in terms of Capsicum, we have a responsibility as we do the good job to keep engaging and re-engaging with our trading partners, telling them what we've done, comparing notes, sharing, because they're our market and we are their producers. We should not wait until such a time when either they put so much restriction on us for us to look like we're going to the market and be reactive in our response, and that's what we have been doing for long as a country. So what we have done deliberately, we formed what we call a horticulture task force in Kenya, and that task force then looks at what are the issues, all right, in which product and in which market. Then as a task force, we go there, and this task force has private sector and government institutions that are relevant to horticulture, KFIS, HCD, and also our branding agency, just to be able to speak to those targeted markets. So our Capsicum inspections out there continue until such a time that the market will confirm that, listen, it's no longer a challenge to them, but we have a role and a responsibility and a duty. And Beta started by saying statistics. What the market is asking us, put for us data and statistics on the table. Once you give us statistics, let figures speak. Numbers don't lie. So what we need to do now is find out how we can regularly update our trading partners on what we are doing that will convince them, for them to get to know that, listen, if they see anything, it is one of those unfortunate cases, but not negligence from our side. So we have a lot of market out there. Again, for the chili farmers, it's time to encourage them to farm. And our market is not EU. Our market is all over the world.
Yes.
So whereas we are focused so much in EU because they're the first people who started doing business with us, hey, wait a minute, we can also then be able to sell to other markets. And we do not have to sell fresh chilies, by the way. If you sold dried chilies in certain markets, you do not have those issues of interception.
Yes.
Because they're not in, I mean, you don't expect false armyworm on dried chili. So if the same market is taking dried chili, why not give them dried chili and reduce on the fresh chili that we take to them? Do value addition of the same chili and take it to them because it's the same chili.
Okay.
Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So I keep saying again, let's stop this lazy attitude of saying we must always sell fresh. It must always be done the way it was done 20 years ago. Let's be innovative in our approach.
Okay.
Let's add value addition. Let's look at variety. And most importantly, let's consider other markets and find out who else is doing this, how else do we do it, and introduce our products there. That is a responsibility that must be done by both of us, the private sector and government. And I keep telling people, government will always go, but government goes where the private sector leads them to. So I think it's time for us to have a sober conversation as a country, and as an industry, we have decided to be deliberate in engagement with government. But we also expect that the country, men and women, who I'm told now Kenyans are good on Twitter, and Kenyans on Twitter, Kenyans on social media, it's a good thing. But after you have those comments, can we get down to action where the rubber meets the road? And for me, it's about doing and being consistent and ensuring quality and branding and speaking about the best practices that we have. And for sure, Kenya has the biggest opportunity to sell across the world. And I say it again, throughout the year. That is the advantage you have against the rest of the world.
Which is a great advantage.
That is ours, given by God. So we must thank God for this. And we must then take advantage of the same.
Yes.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. Our time is up. Thank you for speaking with us.
Asante sana.
I have been speaking with Okisegere Ojepat, the CEO of the Fresh Produce Consortium. We've been talking about exports of fresh produce, including avocado, banana, as well as capsicum. This has been BizCheck. Thank you very much for your valued company. Kurunzi Mashinani is coming up next with Khalid Abdullahi. My name is Betty Kiptum. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Bye-bye.